and welcome to Market Insights. I am Lovina Emah. It's a beautiful day. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. So on today's show, we'll be diving into three key topics. The NLC strike, which happened this week on Monday and Tuesday, and also other economic trends that have been happening in our economy, and also the stock market analysis. So first of all, let's talk about the strike by the Nigerian Labour Congress. Now, this industrial action has undoubtedly impacted various sectors of the economy. So we'll be discussing the strike's causes, its potential consequences, and any ongoing and other issues that were discussed during the strike period. That's on the first part. And then secondly, we'll talk about our other economic trends affecting our economy. We'll talk about things that caught our attention this week in the economy. So this might include the recent data, the recent inflation, global oil prices, and any other noteworthy economic factors that could affect Nigerian businesses. And finally, the stock market analysis. We'll talk about things that happened at the Nigerian exchange this week, and the top gainers, the top decliners. So those are the things we'll be discussing on today's show this morning on Market Insights. So the NLC strike, yes, it affected different sectors. We'll provide outlooks. We'll also discuss how investors and entrepreneurs manage this whole situation. So after the break, my guest and I will talk about issues that happened this week in our economy. To discuss all these issues that happened this week from Monday to today, Friday, my guest this morning, who is joining us virtually, is Peter Adebola. He's the Managing Director for Edgefield Capital Management Limited. He's also an authorized dealing clerk at the Nigerian Exchange Limited. So welcome to Market Insights, Peter Adebola.
Good morning, listener. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning to you also. And how's the week been for you so far from Monday till today?
It has been very fantastic. It has been very good. We thank God.
That's absolutely great to hear. So we're discussing everything that happened this week from the NLC strike for 2 days, how it affected the economy. We'll also talk about other economic issues affecting us, not just in Nigeria, also globally. But before we start talking about our country, let's talk about the Nigerian stock market, how trading was at the Nigerian exchange this week. And we're also going to touch on the top gainers and the top decliners. So this week, what was trading like at the Nigerian exchange? Let's just start from Monday till Thursday. That's from Monday 3rd June to Thursday 6th June.
Okay. Thank you very much. The week started on the good notes, as we see a lot of activities taking place in the banking sector of the market. We see the likes of the big banks, with their prices moving up on Monday. The likes of GTCO, the likes of Zenith Bank and UBA. You see their prices going up on Monday, but on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the price moderates a bit, and you can see that the prices remain stable for those periods. And also in the oil and gas sector, we saw the likes of Seplat and Ohando moving up on Monday, but for other trading days, the price came down. And also we see Nestle in the consumer goods sector, the price of Nestle has been going up since the beginning of the week, and tried to stabilize yesterday during trading.
Thank you very much for that, Peter Adebola. Excuse me. Okay, the all share index, I understand the index gained by 1.7% on Monday, but it looked like it's also turned around. Excuse me, please. It turned around during the week. It kind of reduced during the week. So what are your thoughts on this, please?
Actually, what happened is this, that the effect of the strike also affected the markets. When on Monday, the price, the oil share index went up, just like I told you, that most of the market movers, their prices were up on Monday. The likes of Nestle, the likes of big banks like Zenith Bank, like GTCO, and UBA as well as Seplat and Ohando. their prices move up. And when you look at it, even including MTN, so when all these big movers in the market, anytime their prices move up, definitely you are going to see the whole share index going up. But when their prices start coming down, you see that the market indicator will also come down. And that's what we experienced the day after Monday for the Osha index and market capitalization to moderate. So anytime you see all these market movers, their prices going up, that is, the heavily capitalized companies, you are going to definitely see that the market indicators will move up. And when they come down, then you are going to see the prices, you are going to see market indicators coming down. Don't forget that the likes of MTN, they are, as one of the most capitalized companies in our market, which takes about almost more than 20% of market capitalization. Anytime there's any momentum in it, there's going to be a change in our share index and market capitalization. And anytime it goes down, the same thing will affect the market. So that's what we see in all these companies that we mentioned about. Don't forget, Nestle too is also part of heavily capitalized stocks, and that also affects the movement of market capitalization and share index for the period under
Okay,
review.
thank you for that, Peter Adebola. Okay, so I also know that there were bits of early week jitters on the part of investors. That's why it led to some kind of investor caution this week. But I believe there will be a positive turnaround by the end of trading by today, when trading closes, today being Friday. So what are your thoughts on this?
In actual fact, don't forget that, yes, the impact of the strike and uncertainty surrounding it, because when the strike started on Monday, so the investors were looking at the government be responsive enough to actually call the labor leaders for discussion and negotiation continues. So that uncertainty actually affected the market on Tuesday, but thank God that government was able to call them and the strike was called off. Market is trying to stabilize. If you look at what happened in the market yesterday, we observed a kind of stability in the market, and some of the stocks that have been dropping before, all of them either maintain stance or they gain marginally in their prices. So today, being Friday, we almost have, on Fridays, the activities are not usually much, but the uncertainty regarding the minimum wage is still there. So we are waiting for the government to come up with the acceptable minimum wage that will be acceptable to all parties. If this is done and labor leaders and governments can actually agree on an acceptable minimum wage, you are going to see market reacting positively to this, and we are likely going to see movement in market. And don't also forget that this is the period that banks are getting prepared for their market, for their recapitalization. Some of them are likely going to hit the market before the end of this month regarding their right offer and right issues and public offer. So all this will also affect the movement of the market during the months that we are in.
Okay, thank you very much for that. It's interesting you mentioned banks. I'm sure you heard during the week about the CBN withdrawing the license of Heritage Bank, and all the customers of that bank, including those who had deposited large amounts of money, were all worried, even though the insurance to the bank was trying to reassure customers that their money is safe, but it wasn't quite reassuring for them. I just want to get your opinion on this matter concerning the fact that there are so many depositors that are very worried about the current withdrawal of the license from Heritage Bank.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to say this, that you see, when CBN wants to revoke the license of any bank, it's not something that is always sudden. The process will have been ongoing, and also the management of the bank will have known that such a thing is in the offing, that is going to happen. So, and because there will be some signals and there will be some symptoms that you will see whether a bank is actually going to, whether the bank is actually going to continue in operation or not, or the bank is going to cease as a going concern. So the sign has been there before now, but CBN has been trying to see whether they can get soft landing to make them to continue in operations. And I guess probably when the all available opportunity given to them could not yield the much desired fruit. That's what led to the revocation of the license. NDIC is there, and you hear that NDIC has been talking to people that they are going to start paying the depositors. So I don't think the investors need to be worried about the payment because NDIC is up to the task and they are going to pay them. Although they've stipulated the maximum which you can receive as a depositors when anything happens to your bank, and I'm sure NDIC will do the needful for the depositors of the bank.
Okay, so now what will be the implication on the stocks at the stock market for Heritage Bank, for example, with this new development affecting the bank?
Okay, Heritage Bank is not really a quoted bank on the Nigerian Exchange Limited. It's not a quoted bank. And but the only thing I have to say this is that investors, they have to look at, they have to seek investment professional to be able to know which company they are to invest in. Just like I said, the analysts have actually known that such thing is looming on Heritage Bank before now. And if any investor contacts a professional, they will advise you on which stock and which stock to buy. So for anybody to invest in the market, all you need to do is to consult your stockbrokers who are going to provide advice for you on the stock that you should buy and the one that you should not buy. Because the stockbrokers, they will do their technical analysis and fundamental analysis to be able to arrive at what is happening, and they will do the holistic analysis of the company that they want to recommend for you, so that they will first see that the going concern of the company you want to invest in is not threatened. They will look at the growth potential of the company that you want to invest in, and they will also look at financial performance of the company you want to invest in, and they will also look at the earnings capacity of the company that you want to invest in before they can advise you to put your money in a particular stock. And this is what I will advise investors to do before they can put their money in any company they want to invest in. But I would like to say this because Heritage is a regulated bank. That is why this will happen. For non-regulated companies, it is not as easy like that for any company to cease operations. Otherwise, they will have informed their shareholders and others. But I would like to say that Heritage Bank is not one of the quoted banks on the Nigerian exchange, and investors does not need to panic because of this.
Okay, thank you for that. Before we round up this segment of the stock market, can we just talk about beyond this week's data? Are there any other long-term trends we should be aware of at the Nigerian stock market?
Okay, the main thing in the market right now is capitalization of banks. So we are very happy that this is happening now because it's actually going to create activities in the primary market segment. Because for some time now, we have not actually seen much of activities in the primary market. Primary market has become less active. So with the issue of bank capitalization, we're going to see so many rights issues coming into the market. There will be so many public offers that are going to come to the market. And again, we are going to see a lot of activities happening in the market. So investors, what I will just advise them is that they should please try and consult their stockbrokers before they make any investment. And not only the banks, we are also going to see some other companies coming to the market to raise cash to raise capital. Looking at the borrowing rate now, because of the increase in the monetary policy rate, which is 26.25% now, and of course, the interest rate that is going up, inflation at 3.69%, you see, the cost of borrowing is actually huge. And most of the companies want to access capital markets to raise their long-term capital to fund their operations. And that is also going to cause, that is going to generate a lot of activities in the market before the end of the year. Just to let you know, currently International Breweries is doing its own rights issue, which is going to close on Monday if it's not extended. And we are also going to see some other companies that will follow suit, that will come to the market to raise capital. So between now and the end of the year, even up to 2026, I believe that we are going to see a lot of markets and we are going to see a lot of activity. So investors to get ready for all this. And I believe that it will also create opportunity because it will increase our market depth and also increase the width of the market as well. So with this, investors have a lot of opportunities which they can take advantage of in the capital markets. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So, your final words, please. I know today is Friday. The market is still trading, is still going on right now, but we know that hopefully, all fingers crossed, the week might close on a positive note, on a bullish note at the stock markets, if we're hopeful.
Yeah, yes, you are very correct. You see, all the signals that we have all around shows that market is likely going to close on the positive note for this week. And I believe that investors and stockbrokers, they are there to make some money today at the close of business so that we can have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much.
So now, how did the strike affect Nigeria's GDP, inflation, and employment rates? I know this is quite packed. This question is quite packed, but the reason I asked is because looking at everything that happened in the country, looking at our different sectors, our agricultural sector and industrial sector, and also the services sector. We currently, in the agricultural sector, we have a 0.18% growth, and in the industrial sector, we have a 2.19% growth, and the services sector, which is really growing, is a 4.3% growth. So now, how did the strike affect Nigeria's GDP, inflation, and also employment rates this week, looking at everything that happened this week?
Okay, thank you very much. See, when we are talking about the effect of strike on the macroeconomic indicators, first of all, we'd like to mention that the strike is very necessary. Because labor has the right to demand for living wage from the government. And government also has the right to make sure that they take care of the labor, because by so doing, the aggregate production in the country is going to increase. And if labor now down to what will be the effects on our economy, the effect is enormous. Now, if you look at what happened during the strike, number one, they shut down the national grid. There's no electricity. So you will see that without electricity, many companies could not function, most especially those people that rely on electricity from government. They couldn't do anything. Not that alone, where the aviation sector was shut down. So there was no flight anywhere. You see, the revenue that could have been generated that day was not generated. Not that alone, even the government that's supposed to earn revenue from all those activities could not earn anything for that day. So, and again, companies that have budgeted that they're going to prepare XYZ in their budget, they couldn't achieve that because of one day loss that they have made. So by the time we now look at the multiplying effect that it has in all aspects of the economy, you will see that it is enormous. We don't have data to actually put this in perspective, to actually aggregate what the value of this is going to be, but I can assure you it's going to be in billions of naira, if not trillions of naira, when you aggregate the impact altogether. And also, in the service industry, just like I told you, even the people in small scale sector, most of them rely on electricity. Most of them need to move from one place to the other. See, during the strike, some of them could not move out because of what happened. So, in fact, some petrol stations, they stopped selling fuel. So, mobility became a problem for everybody. And you see, if this could have continued for 5 days, the whole economy will have gone down. but the effect is very, very enormous on our economy. So if you ask what is going to happen to it in terms of unemployment, of course, when the income of any organization is going down and you can not make enough money to actually take care of all your expenditure, the next thing that you are going to do is to reduce what you are, your cost. And one of the ways to reduce is to shed your employees, and that is going to throw more people into unemployment market. So the impact is enormous. And thank God for the government that they were able to call the labor leaders on time so that they negotiate and they arrive at an amicable level, which the minimum wage will be. But I would like to say that, you see, minimum wage shouldn't be something that we are going to talk about all the time in Nigeria. Government should take the welfare of workers to be its priority, because these workers are the ones that are actually making this money. And when they are happy, they will even be happy to do the work. And their motivation alone can also lead to increase in aggregate production in the economy. And that will lead to growth of our GDP. But where laborers are not taken care of, you see, there's going to be a problem, because any demotivation staff, there's no way they can perform very well. So that's why government should please take the welfare of labor to be their priority. In fact, in private sector, we take our human resource to be our greatest assets, because without them, the organization cannot run. When we are talking about organization, it's not the building. Look at the organization we have now. If you are demotivated and you cannot work, I'm sure this program will not be lively like this. So the same thing in the public sector. The government should take the welfare of the workers as priority, and they must motivate them from time to time.
Okay, well said. Thank you for that. I believe a more human feeling is needed on the part of government to be able to understand what people are going through, and to be able to create policies that can serve the people very well. So thank you for that, Peter Adebola. Okay, now looking at our services sector now, according to the, okay, before I start quoting these figures, but the services sector contributes over 58% to our GDP, to the nation's GDP. Now, how can businesses mitigate the impacts of future strikes and other labor disputes? So it doesn't really, because I believe, like you mentioned, in the private industry, or the private sector rather, they actually look out for the well-being of their staff. So in the future, in the event that this issue happens again, how can businesses try to protect themselves from everything that will be occurring in the event of another labor dispute?
Okay, thank you very much. See, let's look at it this way. Okay, the nominal wage is not even the important thing, but the real wage is what is important. So I would like to say that if the government increase the nominal wage, which the labor is asking for now, without actually doing things that will make that wage to have value, they will still come back again and still agitate for more. What are we talking about? You see, if they increase the nominal wage now, which labor is asking for, what is going to happen is that the prices of things will continue to rise again. And until we were able to tackle the real issue that is causing the inflation, then we are going to see all these agitation to continue. What are the real causes of all these things? Number one, when the first subsidy was removed, you see the prices of things started going up from about 350, it jumped to about 650. And that is the multiplying effect of that is what we are seeing in the economy right now. And that's why labor too, they are agitating for more wage, because virtually everything, the prices of all things have gone up in Nigeria. That's why we continue to have increase in inflation rate. But if we dimension the greatest contribution of inflation rate, it is the food inflation. So government should look at how are we going to bring down the prices of foodstuffs in the markets. And if government is able to address that, then we are going to have a situation where the inflation rate will not be increasing again. And also that of electricity. I mean, that of fuel. You know, government said that as of last year, they said that they are going to, Port Harcourt refinery is going to start working. But up till now, it has not started. If we are refining our oil in our petroleum products in our own country, then the price will not be as high as we have now because we have the crude, we have the refinery. So when we are producing it, everything will be available for people. So those are the things that I expect labor to discuss with government, that government, how are we going to have all these things put in place? Because if they are not, don't forget we are still importing fuel. And if the exchange rates continue to go up, that is, naira begin to depreciate, then more money will be spent on importing the fuel. And as we are having this naira depreciation, prices of things will continue to go up. So what we need to do is to tackle all these challenges and all these bottlenecks. We need to remove them within our economy so that when we begin to produce what we consume, then our naira will continue to appreciate. What I'm saying is this: the government does not tackle the issue of food, which also been affected by security challenge in the economy. Then we are going to come back again, probably next year, God forbid, to be talking about increase in another way. Government need to tackle the issue of security so that farmers can go to the farm. If farmers can go to the farm, then we are going to have more farm input. If you go to the market now, go and price tomato, go and price pepper, go and price yam, then you will understand what we are talking about. So why are all these prices going up? It's because farmers could not go to the farm. It's either they are kidnapped or they are gang raped or they are killed. So if the security issue is actually, the government is trying, we are not saying they are not doing anything, but they need to do more so that Nigeria will be able to do their work very well. And if that is done, then you will see that the real wage is going to increase when inflation rate comes down. But if we don't tackle the real cause of inflation within our economy, and we continue to use monetary policy rates to tame inflation, we just see that we are going to continue to increase the interest rate, and then the inflation rate will continue to go up, and it will be spiraling up like that. But the causes of inflation, which is actually going to bring it down, which is going to bring inflation down, has to do with security. When government tackles the security, increase in food prices come down in the market to bring down inflation, and also the cost of energy also come down. When the prices of energy come down, then you are going to see that inflation rate will come down. You see, when we are looking at all those volatile, goods and services that cause volatility in our economy, those are the ones causing the inflation rates to go up. So government should look at that, make sure that we have functioning refinery, make sure that there is security so that farmers can go to work, and also support them with farm inputs, with seedlings, not only with fertilizers, with improved seedlings that they can plant and they can increase the harvest. You are going to see that inflation rate will go down if we can do this. Of course, we have vast area of land that we can produce enough food for ourselves that we can also import. But we are not looking at that side. And that is all. We are not doing enough on that side. And that is what keeps our inflation to continue to go up and continue to go up. When we tackle all this, not only that we are going to have enough food, we are going to have raw materials for our industries, and then the economy will continue to go from there. Do you know that if we have refinery functioning well in this country now, do you know the potential of employment generation capability that a refinery can give along the value chain? You have petrochemical there, you have various raw materials for industry that we can get from our refineries. But I don't know why government cannot give this as priority. In fact, the state of emergency must be declared, that this thing must work so that we can move our economy forward and grow our economy. Thank you.
Okay, yes, yes, I understand what you are saying, Peter Adebola. I do. Now, recently the Minister for Finance, Wale Edu, he also created the Accelerated Stabilization and Advancement Plan, ASAP. So it's this plan highlights a 5.4 trillion naira fuel subsidy cost for 2024. It also highlights a 1.5 trillion naira Genco debt. It also highlights a revenue gap due to low oil production, and it's prescribing a 1 trillion naira manufacturing fund. It also prescribes a 200 billion naira value chain finance fraud. So now looking at this new measure that the Minister for Finance created called ASAP, the Accelerated Stabilization and Advancement Plan, do you think he's going in the right direction concerning what is going on in our economy right now?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me give you to the current administration that they are trying a lot to make sure that they improve the economy as quickly as they can. This ASAP program that was unfolded by the Minister for Finance is in the right direction. And of course, it tackles those areas that we have mentioned and that we have highlighted. But we don't just want to read it on the pages of paper, and we don't just want to hear it. We want the implementation to be done as quickly as possible. So when this is done, it's going to help our economy to grow. And because so many promises we have had before that are not being fulfilled. So what Nigerians are expecting is immediate implementation of all these programs so that it will not just be on paper, but we continue to generate this. And let me say this, that if government can actually implement this program, it's also going to have a kind of it's going to also make government to generate more revenue, because if the economy is doing well, definitely the revenue that government is also going to get is going to increase. So that is why there is need for this. The kind of money that they said they are going to give to all these priority areas, I don't know whether they will be enough. But you see, for me, the only thing I see now is that we shouldn't even be talking about fuel subsidy now. What we should be thinking about is how we are going to be refining our oil. Even though Dangote refinery is set to commence operations in this month of June, and we are still waiting. So if that will happen, that of government will happen, if government is going to do it, I want to believe that this is the right direction that government is moving towards. But what we are saying is that this implementation must be like yesterday. That is, government must have started so that our economy can pick up and our economy can continue to grow. Yes, the service sector, the infrastructure, the agriculture, the service sector, all those sectors are good, as highlighted by the Minister for Finance. It's going to help the economy. But what we are saying is that the implementation must start immediately. See, if we tackle all these things, in all fronts, I believe that we are there. But I must say that the most important aspect of all these things is the security. We must intensify effort on making sure that there is security, because if you pump money into electricity and all the workers are being kidnapped in their sites where they are working, then they will have to run for their life. Even if you want to continue to refine your petroleum products and there is no security, you see the workers in the refinery will have to find their way. So government must give priority to security and make sure that there is security everywhere. They can continue to maintain surveillance. There are so many people that are security professionals within the country that government can work with to make sure that we do all this. If we could do it for other countries, why can't we do it for our own country to make sure that security is? I know it's not very easy. I mean, the way we are saying it, but the professionals using technology and everything, they'll be able to to solve these problems, and then we'll be able to move forward. But I must conclude this way, that the ASAP program is in the right direction. If government is sincere enough to implement it, I believe it's going to move our economy forward and it's going to grow our economy. There's no doubt.
Okay, then, well said. Okay, so now what policy reforms can the government create for a more conducive business environment in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, the first thing first is that, you see, the energy sector is very, very important. Okay, now is one of the cardinal areas which government should actually look into and make sure that it's put in place. If there is energy, if there is electricity everywhere, our factories will be able to work very well. Our SMEs will be able to work very well and function very well. Then you are going to see that it's going to increase our GDP. Then another reform is bank credit availability. To be very candid with you now, so to get funds to run businesses is not easy. So government should look at that area to make sure that, assessing credits for business is as easy as anything. You understand? If they can tackle the problem of our getting visa, getting passports, if they can resolve that problem, then bank credit availability is also something that is very germane that government should look into. If people can access funds to grow their businesses, so many graduates, they have so many things upstairs that they want to do for themselves. So if there is accessibility to bank credit, they can get it without any stress. You see that our production, aggregate production is going to increase, and then that would lead to the growth of our economy. And again, I will also say that another thing is our infrastructure. You see, our infrastructure must also be looked into. Government is trying on this area, but they should not relax. Having done what the past administration has done, the current administration should take it to the next level. And if we continue to improve on an infrastructure like that, health sector, Nigeria, they are hale and ready to work. We have good transportation, we have good roads, our rail lines are working, our airlines are working. Then we are creating an enabling environment for our industry to thrive. Stable electricity, 24/7 electricity. You don't need to worry yourself about all these things. But in Nigeria, I believe we are going to get there. Those are the kind of reforms. And the educational sector too. Government should look at it, because that is what develop your manpower that's going to man all these industries that we are talking about. So there is need for government to actually bring a reform that will make sure that our academic program in our various universities are uninterrupted, so that we can have good products from our various higher institutions that will feed into our country, that will come up with different things. And government should also fund researches in our higher institution of learning. There are so many people up there that have so many things that they can do for government, but where is the funding? So those are the things that government should need to look at, instead of every time run abroad, go and look for consultants. There are so many consultants in the country that can put things together that will move our economy forward better than what we are getting abroad. These are the things that government needs to do. And then I so much believe that within a short period of time, our economy will come from the wood and will continue to meet up with other economies in the world.
Okay, but I understand what you are saying. Yes, I agree with you. The government, they have to do all these things, but I believe with teamwork, more of this can be achieved. So now, how can the government work with the private sector to implement these changes?
Okay. Yes, if you look at all these changes that we are talking about, it's not only government that can do it, but you see, government is the policy maker, both at the fiscal side and at the monetary side. So when governments make policy and give direction that this is what we want to do, and people see the sincerity of them, private sector, they are ready to join them. And also there's what we call public-private partnership. Okay? So That is PPP. So private sector are always ready. But the question is sincerity of government. If government is ready to work with the private sector, let's say if you go to many ministries and departments now, they're going to see so many proposals by private sector that government want to do this with you, want to do this with you, want to do ABC with you. So you are going to see them there. It's now left for government to say, yes, we are ready to work with you in the private sector. Let's see how we can grow our economy. And you will see that the private sector will move in that direction. But we need government to say that we are ready. And people in the private sector, let's go. And you're going to see everybody working together. All of us, we want our country to be good. We want a country that our children can be proud of. So in the private sector and in the public sector, they can work together, but government should set the pace and private sector will follow. And then we can see things moving forward.
Okay, thank you for that, Peter Adebola. Yes, so now before we round up the program now, we know this strike was a key issue that happened this week, and it's, yeah, till the end of the week, yes, everybody will still talk about it, and the main purpose of the strike was to discuss minimum wage, how we can increase it to help the citizens of this country now. So now, how can the government balance demands for labor demands? Because labor will always make demands, especially right now that our inflation is at 33%. So now, how can government balance labor demands with the need to attract foreign investment and drive economic growth in the country?
Okay, see, it's a simple matter. Okay, very simple. I think the labor, to even though they put a specific amount that this is what it wants, labor too, they are very realistic. They know what is going on in the economy, but they want the commitment from government to at least shift from where they are now to something higher. And when they discuss with the labor, they should be able to tell them, just as we discussed earlier, that it is not even the nominal wage that is important, but the real wage is what they should consider. So after government has put before them what they know they can afford, because don't forget, it's not about the issue of minimum wage. We are talking about overall workers' remuneration. And I give you an example. If they increase the minimum wage to 100, let's say 105,000, as is being rumored around, some people are already earning that 105 before now. So are you going to lead them in that 105? No. So they have to do the holistic calculation so that everybody will be affected. And that will mean, because the percentage increase that they are going to put on the minimum wage is also going to cut across board, although it may not be at the same rate, but the increment is going to cut across across board in the government cycle. So they have to come with a template that, okay, this is what, and they do a kind of scenario planning so that they will show it to the labor that if we do this, this is what we are going to get. If we do that, this is what we are going to get. And all of them, they will now come back and say, okay, let's agree to this. Not that alone. Government should also tell labor that, okay, after increasing it to this area, this is what we are trying to do to bring down inflation. This is what we are trying to do. This is the timeline that we want to do this, and even set up committee, that are going to follow the timeline that is going to work. The pragmatic one that is going to make sure that the real wage also increase. Because if you increase the nominal wage and inflation rates continue to go up, then your position has not changed. But if you increase the nominal wage and then the inflation rate comes down, your position is better. And that is what I'm trying to agitate for. So let government and labor sit down together and let them come up with what they know that is going to be acceptable to all. Don't forget, private sector are also there, because once minimum wage becomes a law, everybody must abide by that law. Everybody must adopt that. So they will look at it holistically. How about small, medium enterprises, will they be able to cope with this? Although there are some exemption for those people too in the law. But then they have to consider
Mr.
all these
Adebola,
things.
thank you very much for your time with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
do
very
appreciate this a whole lot. It's been great having this conversation with you on everything that happened this week. And it was a pleasure for you to join us virtually this morning on Market Insights. Thank you very much for this. So we look forward to having you again on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And have a good day.
Okay, so now let's look at the selling rates for the dollars this week. This week from Monday to Friday, from Monday 3rd June to Friday today 7th June. So we're just going to focus on the selling rate of the dollar. So on Monday, at the CBN rate, the dollar sold for 1,313 naira to $1. And on Tuesday, it's the same price, 1,313 naira to $1. On Wednesday, 1,313 naira to $1. But on Thursday, it increased to 1,481 naira to $1. And the same thing on Friday, 1,481 naira to $1. So those are our money market figures this morning. Okay, so as we unpack these critical issues and navigate their impact on our economy, Nigerian businesses, we need to understand the landscape, and we also need to, like my guest said, the government needs to work on the fiscal industry here, the fiscal structure, improve on our security, and definitely we're looking at a better economy that will affect all our sectors, both agriculture, industrial, and the services sector. So many thanks for watching Market Insight this morning. I am your host, Lovina Emah.